How's it going? It's Brian Soscia, Cody Rhodes. Thank you for coming on today to speak with us.
No, thank you guys very much. Thank you.
Well, Cody, first, let's just start right off. Last night on Raw, everybody saw it. You walked away. You walked away from the Big Show, and I think a lot of fans are upset about that.
I don't know how many fans are upset about that. I mean, me and Big Show, I feel like, have wrestled a bazillion times. And I got the Giant on the wrong day, and that's I think you'd hear it on commentary a great deal. That's the champion's advantage. You can't win the title from a DQ. You can't win the title from a countout, and Big Show's rematch is null and void.
Maybe you're a little bit smarter than the big man, huh?
I don't know if it's that, but I'm certainly not bigger than him, so I have to have something.
Good point. But if you don't mind, Cody, while I have you for a couple minutes here, I just want to ask you some questions about your career and how you started, where you came from. And I know you had some time with Bob Holly. You spent some tag team time with Bob Holly. And I've heard some pretty crazy stories about that guy. Did you guys get along right away? Did he take you under his wing? How'd that go?
Hardcore Bob Holly. No, he did not take me under his wing necessarily, but he did make attempts to teach me things. One thing he was helpful with, whereas I had never been helped in the arena of lifting and training and getting bigger. My dad was not a body guy, and I didn't have a lot of people, mentors who were helpful in that capacity and that side of sports entertainment. So that's one thing I did pick up from Bob. And obviously the number one thing anybody who's ever been across the ring from Bob or been in the same corner as him is that's a man, and you've got to learn to be a man yourself. So there are things I learned to do and things I learned not to do from Bob Holly. And I stole his patented finisher, and I still call it the Alabama Slam with every bit of spite. So,
hey, what did Bob Holly think about this? Now, I don't have a problem with it, but you say he's a man's man, and you walk up to him sporting a nose ring. Did he ever ride you about that?
I think he didn't notice I had a nose ring. Actually, a lot of people didn't notice I had a nose ring until a year into my career because it was small.
They thought it was like a shiny pimple.
Yeah, I had people from the production side of WWE, cameramen and such, tell me hey, what's that? And not you think they're joking, they're just picking on you, but they weren't. They genuinely couldn't figure it out. So he never rode me about it. Bob Holly never really rode me about anything.
From, Bob Holly, you went on with your career there, and I always thought that some stuff that stood out, at least for me, when I've seen you in the ring, on television, at shows, is your ring gear. I think your ring gear is just top-notch. You always have very cool things. I don't know if I read somewhere, or maybe you said at one time, that you had a lot of wrestling hand-me-downs, I guess from your brother and stuff. Is that true? Or?
I mean, I got a lot of elements to steal from in terms of ring gear. I had some hand-me-down Austin Hall boots, which, gosh, I wish I could still wear. Those were the cowboy boots that had the flat sole that everybody in the 1980s was wearing. Those were probably my favorite piece of hand-me-down. But I grew up watching wrestling when it was about the pageantry. The gear was just as important as the moves you could do. And that's one of my favorite parts of this job is getting with those seamstresses and mapping out what I want. And man, I love that.
Well, I was going to say, so seamstresses make your gear. I mean, do you have to pay for it? Does that get taken care of by WWE? I've always wondered that when I see all these guys on television. Do you have to actually buy that on your own, or do they have somebody in-house that does that?
It's a good question. It's kind of case by case. I look at it from a stance of you got to spend a little money to make money. I know that the amount of leather that's just in the coat I've got now and the amount of craftsmanship that went into it, and I wasn't happy with it at first, and we did some fine-tuning. I certainly pay for the gear that's on my body. I have no problem with it. If you've got an LED light-up jacket, you should be paying for that, too, because some of this stuff is expensive. So.
All right, well, yeah, the jacket, that's more popular than him, like he likes to say. So how long would you have to put an order in for something? Like the thing you're talking about now, I guess, the coat you wore at Mania, which was beautiful. I was there, I saw it in person. It was a great piece of ring gear. How long does it take to make something like that? How long in advance do you have to put that in?
That is a total insider question I've never been asked, and I'm trying to give you an honest answer. I'd say, to be reasonable, it's the showcase of the immortals, the show of shows, so you want to be one step ahead of the game. I'd say probably 2 months.
All right, there you go. I look at TV and I wonder all these things. I have a different way of thinking, I guess. So I don't know. But another thing that I always noticed about you, which changed recently, and don't take us the wrong way, because I think that you're one of the fastest up and coming stars. But this used to bug me about you. Why did you go so long without wearing knee pads?
Oh, that's simple. I just try to do everything I can to differentiate the way I look and the way the way I come off on television. I try to differentiate it from my father. And I saw this picture of Buddy Rogers, Nature Boy Buddy Rogers, and I just thought he looked so just classy, elegant. He had the trunks that were like a quarter of an inch higher than the trunks everyone's wearing today, maybe an inch higher. And he had the boots where the socks stuck out a little bit, no knee pads. And I thought there was a gritty, tough element that was in that photo that I kind of wanted to steal. But the truth is, it just bugged people. Like, I had people yelling at me leaving the buildings and stuff, like, put on knee pads. Like, it just bugged people. Like, it was one of those things of, like, if you get under people's skin, that's a good thing. But, like, that doesn't seem like that money-making way to get under their skins. And the more moonsaults I kept doing, a la the Great Muda, I didn't want to end up not being able to walk because I was putting a lot of pressure on my knees. So I switched. Bill DeMott actually said, see how you feel in these knee pads and see how you look. And the night I first wore knee pads was a sold-out Madison Square Garden that, oddly enough, was chanting my name slightly, and I haven't gone back since. How
about the WWE Intercontinental title? Now, you've probably been asked this a million times. A lot of people love the design that you brought back. Now, was that your idea to bring back, or was that done without your knowledge? They said, here's the new title.
100% my idea.
Thank God.
So it took a great deal of selling, and it took a great deal of pestering, but there's this vocal minority of wrestling fans. But the truth is, they're becoming less and less the minority. And I knew from growing up, I wasn't even the biggest WWF fan growing up, or WWE fan later on. I was from a WCW family. I would watch more WCW, but even so, the Intercontinental Championship that I saw, the one that sold out Wembley Stadium, the one that the Ultimate Warrior wore, the one that Mr. Perfect, Texas Tornado, like Rick Rude, all those guys are 10s. Why wouldn't I want to wear that title? And the other one was ugly as sin. And I just, I wanted it so bad, and Shawn Michaels being my hero growing up, I know he got pissed that I used the white one, but I did it as more of a homage than anything. So, yeah, that was mine.
Well, good, because I think a lot, and I do think it looks better on television with the HD and everything. It just, like, kind of stands out more,
I think it's great.
Yeah, and then also a thing I've always noticed about you, Cody, is that you're one of those guys, you get it. Like, you can switch and roll with the punches. You went from being the good-looking guy to the character with the mask, and the mask thing, I think, just changed your character totally. Did the mask ever get, like, annoying to wear? I always wondered that when guys wear masks. Does it smell? Does it get annoying? Is it hot? Were you tired of it?
Honestly, I learned the commitment to masked Cody Rhodes. The level of commitment I had to that was probably where I learned more about myself than anywhere else in my career. I felt more like myself under that mask. I mean, literally, when I took the mask off, I was telling somebody this the other day, when the mask was removed, I felt like Master Chief. I felt like something was, like, wrong with my face. Like I felt like, I mean, this is real. Like, my face was, like, all untanned from I'd been wearing the mask so long. Like, I didn't know. It was such an edge to me to have that mask, and it saved my life, actually, to have that mask, because the very last night I had it, Randy Orton kicked me so hard in what was supposed to be an unbreakable Dr. Murray design, the same one Kobe and Rip Hamilton, same doctor.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be an unbreakable mask, but it had a huge beak on it because it was for a broken nose. He cracked it straight down the middle, and had I not been wearing that mask, I might be dead. I mean it he kicked it so hard, and that was the last night I had it.
Thanks to Randy Orton.
Yeah, and then I gave the mask away to hopefully WWE's future Physical Hall of Fame.
Yeah, hopefully. Whenever they need to get one of those soon. I think they could make a lot of money off that. That and also a rule book. I feel like they came out with a rule book and sold it at the events. They can make a ton of money with that. I don't know why they don't.
I believe they do have a rule book that's actually coming out. I could be telling you like a fib on that, but I think that's been something that's been discussed on a regular basis, actually. So I wouldn't be surprised if you saw it.
It's 20 years too late for them to come out with the rule book, but at least hopefully they will. And then you're going to be getting tweets on Twitter. You're very active on Twitter. You're going to be getting tweets like, how come you broke the rule? And this was in the rule book, but you know how that goes.
Yeah.
What can you plug your Twitter for the fans? And I want to talk about your videos you put on Twitter. Like, I saw the one I thought was hilarious with your dog wearing the Big Show hat.
Yeah, Monty wore that Big Show hat the whole time, and that was I give that dog such credit because I just berated that poor overweight Chihuahua, and he played along really well. For me, the Cody Rhodes at Cody Rhodes WWE Twitter initially, and still to some degree, I really am not fully understanding of Twitter. I don't get it really. I don't know. I had this discussion, it seems like every day in the locker room, but when I agreed to do it, I wanted to do it different. I never want to beg somebody to watch me. I never want to beg somebody to wear my T-shirt. So if I can entertain them and then they want to do that, then that's cool. And I thought maybe Twitter was a nice spot to do that. There's a reason I don't tweet hashtags and stuff like that. Basically, I just like to put these videos out because that's something that I genuinely fully commit to. It's not a one-word, mispunctuated, misspelled answer. It's something that I fully commit to, and the small, little, growing, intimate, group of followers I have can actually know that I'm signed on 100% with that, and I like doing those. I like doing those videos a lot.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun to watch too, man. I always look forward to when you put one up. It's good stuff. I once read, Cody, in a book that you sometimes play the iPod Game of Life in the car.
That is completely incorrect. What book was that?
It was a WWE book.
What? What does it say about me?
It said you sit in the car and you play the iPod Game of Life or Life Game or something where you put the iPod on shuffle and whatever song comes on, that's going to describe your day.
That's not fake. That's not fake. That we don't use an iPod though. Well, I guess we've basically you only really have luck with that if you use like FM radio. That game where we used to do that all the time. Where like basically the next song that comes on is the song that's going to describe your life. And gosh, the best music is tragic and dramatic. I think poor Ted DiBiase Jr. has got like probably the worst life ever because of the music that we've had during the Game of Life. But that's true, just not with an iPod.
All right, it was a misprint there. They're trying to be technologically correct. I mean,
trying to be trendy.
Who listens to the radio anymore, right?
Yeah.
All right, and this is just a Facebook question I got to ask you. Somebody wants to know, and I thought it was good. I picked this one out. Why do you do your finishing move differently than some other people do it? I mean, certain people do it one way, you do it another way. I think you hook with your left, and the guy they're talking about, Supernova, I think hooks with his right.
The Crossroads?
Yeah, they said you're doing it the opposite way. Is there a reason for that, or just the way you're comfortable?
I think when I Jamie Noble helped me discover that finish, and it's the roll of the dice. I think both versions are done, but I like the way that we go because literally both guys are suspended. Some of my favorite photos are where even big guys like Zeke, both guys are totally suspended in midair. The only time going opposite ever was a problem was at Money in the Bank where I thought I split the back of my head open when I did it to Kofi on the ladder, and it didn't hurt Kofi at all and hurt me way worse.
Oh, man, I remember that. It looked brutal. Cody, okay, last question. What was the best advice you were ever given in the wrestling business? Did it come from your brother, maybe your father?
No, can it be somebody other than my dad or brother?
Sure, it can be anybody.
Shawn Michaels told me once that getting over is a full-time job. And that was around the time in my life that I realized that you can ride the middle and have a fun life and meet chicks and, make a little money and think you're a celebrity, or you can put in, like the best do here, 7 days a week. And there's little moments here and there for yourself, yes, but 7 days a week. I love this job. I guarantee you I'm going to make it to the top of this job, because I don't think many people here do that anymore. There's actually very few. So that was the best advice I ever got, was getting over is a full-time job.
Definitely. I think that's great advice, especially from a guy like coming from him. And I think you do a good job at that. And Cody, really, when I heard I was going to have you on today, I said, you know what? I'm so glad to have him on now, because in 2 or 3 years, this guy, you're already ascending. You're going to be on top. I love watching you. I know people don't even watch sports entertainment that like to watch you, like my girlfriend, but we're not going to get into that.
Thanks.
But I will say, man, I saw your girlfriend on Twitter. If that's the reason you're taking a 6 a.m. flight, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, that's her.
Thanks for visiting with the Soscia Network.
Thanks, man. Anytime.